All right. Check 1 2. Yes, we are fucking rolling. We've got a special episode. We got Anthony, and I practiced this beforehand. Wendelbo, also known as
Yep.
Types. We got him on the
Tapes.
tips.
Tapes.
Tapes?
No tapes. Yeah.
Oh. Oh,
Just the
okay.
tip.
There's so many different things you could do with that name. Tapes, types, tips. It's prime for confusion. That's the price of being a cool guy. That's the price of being a cool guy who puts a V when there's supposed to be a vowel. You got to run
Yeah.
into boomer brain people like me and who
Yeah.
can't pronounce shit. How you doing today, man?
I'm doing alright. How are you, man?
I'm doing pretty
Enjoying the
good.
sunshine.
Yeah,
How's it? How's the weather over there in Tejas?
I have not exited my house yet today because we're doing this in the morning, and I got back. I
Yeah.
got back pretty late. I've been doing shows with comedian Mike Eaton the past like 2 or 3
Oh, yeah.
days, and we've been doing a lot of fucking driving. So I got back at like 1:30 in the morning, passed out, and I just woke up and did
Jeez.
this. But no, the weather right now in Tejas is a lot. We're starting to get into the time of year that makes you question. I go, did I really
Why
want
are you
to?
here?
Did I really want to move here and try to become friends with Joe Rogan? Like, do I just want to? But no, I
Yeah.
will. I will say Texas does rip when it's past the summer. The summers are rough, but when it's past the summer, it's pretty nice. You're over in Atlanta, right? How's it over there?
Yeah. It's humid and shit. It's just the different weather and all the trees and stuff. It's not as dry as Texas, but it can be. It can be humid
Yeah.
as fuck.
I remember I've driven through Atlanta twice, and the two things I really notice is a lot of abandoned cars on the highway.
Yep, a lot of that. A lot of whoops, forgot oil change, and or this car's stolen. Yeah, a lot of that.
That's so funny. So, I don't know exactly where to start because you got a whole bunch of things going on right now. Oh, I should also say, normal. This is a special. Well, it was gonna be a bonus episode, but it actually worked out where Pat got really sick, and it's actually working out in our benefit because we had this scheduled anyway, and I was like, okay, I guess this is just the main episode now. So that's pretty nice and that's pretty sick. But yes, so we normally do review episodes. Well, yeah, we review and research these albums. So we're bumping
Right.
that back a week, so you guys can see Pat's beautiful face next week. But yeah, you got a lot of We wanted to bring you on because you take photos and you were on tour with like Kublai Khan and anyone who and a bunch of other bands. But if anyone who listens to Drag the Lake knows, I might currently be the biggest Kublai Khan stand. I don't know. I just want Matt to hold me close in his arms. He's very strong and he seems like a very nice guy. But you got a lot
Yeah.
of shit going on, man, with your photos, and you made a fucking cartoon, which I was honored to be a part of. Talk to me about that, because that's the most interesting thing currently. Is just I've been thinking about. I have like ideas thrown around with like doing cartoons and stuff in context of podcasts. So
Right.
where did you get the idea to do? Oh, also let them know the name, all that stuff. Where'd you get the idea, and then how do you start to do a cartoon?
Well, I got the idea during the pandemic, like during the very very beginning of it. I was just everybody was at home. I would just walk my dogs every day, like 3-4 miles.
Yeah.
Just listening and watching. Do you remember Action League Now or Kablam? Do you
Yeah.
remember Kablam from
What-
Nickelodeon?
Was Action League Now a cartoon within Kablam?
Yes, it was
Yeah.
a Kablam. Kablam was a variety show on Nickelodeon, and
Yeah, I watched.
one of the show. Yeah, one of the shows was little stop motion action figures with it's called Action League Now. Yeah,
That's right.
toys.
Yeah, I remember all that stuff vaguely. It's like I get bits and pieces because basically whatever was on Cartoon Network and Nickelodeon in the morning, and then right after school, I watched it religiously. But then when
Yep.
around 6 p.m. when 6 p.m. came around, I switched over to The Simpsons. So
Yep.
basically, from about 3 to 6 p.m., I was locked in on Nickelodeon or Cartoon Network. So I
Yeah.
definitely got a lot of Action League now. So that's where that was one of
The-
your was that one of your favorites back in the day?
Yeah, that All Real Monsters, stuff like that were do you remember My Cousin Skeeter? The
Yeah,
one
it
with
was
the
the
puppet?
puppet, right? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I liked a little bit of mix of 2D and 3D kind of stuff like that.
Well, yeah, because wasn't I'm looking up a picture of Action League now just to get reminded of the look of it. But wasn't it kind of like the same? It had the same artistic style of the cut and paste like old South Park did, but it was much trippier.
It's I did it with puppetry and like I put the little toys on popsicle sticks and I put Velcro on their feet. They
Oh, okay.
did a mixture of stop motion because there's some stuff where there is stop motion where it takes a little bit longer to do certain things.
Yeah.
And then they would also blow them up. They had like toys where they would destroy them, and they had ways of making. What I read up on was like they would take like He-Man toys, but like a bunch of the same ones, and they would paint them all the same, and then they would break them. They run them over with cars, blow them up with fireworks and stuff like that.
Oh, okay. Jesus. That so you were
Yeah.
so you got inspired by that. You were working in some stop motion shit for your stuff then?
No, it took too long. I had a few creative partners who were involved originally, but they all slowly just kind of backed out last minute.
Yeah.
So I was just kind of like, well, I have all this stuff. I'm just going to do it myself. And I just kind of did it. I kind of did it backwards first. So I shot and started editing everything first before I did the script and lines and stuff.
Oh, really?
You're supposed Yeah, you're
So
supposed to come up with like dialogue and all that, but I did
yeah.
that last.
So wait, you had wait,
So
did you do that as like an artistic thing or did you like have a
I
broad
was I was just bored. I was just so bored with like, should I do a podcast? Should I start a band? Should I, go heavy on my freelance business? Should I
Yeah.
do? It's just I just get so bored like by myself. And during the pandemic, like all the people that I was hanging out with just kind of slowly, either they moved or they trickled out of my life somehow. So I was just kind of like, damn, dude, there's no you know, we have a Atlanta has a new Helium comedy club now,
Yeah.
but like I don't like a lot of the comedians that I were hanging out with, they've all moved to New York or Austin. Kind of
Y-
like kind of like you, just kind of like same thing. It's like you've kind of peaked already at where you're at and you're just trying to go
Yeah.
forward.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
That's what happens with those areas. They're really great cities. And there's like dudes who love being like road dogs like that and they make those cities work, but it's a different type
I,
of hustle you got to put in. But broadly speaking, a lot of comics they'll start out in like yeah, an Atlanta, a Chicago, a Philadelphia, and then you
mhm.
hit a point where you're like you choose to move to LA or New York and
Yeah.
Austin's starting to become I think yeah, give it if it stays consistent, give it a couple years and it will be one of
Yeah.
like the three ones where it's like, oh, you move there, you do a bunch of spots. But even not to go
Yep.
on a rant, but even I've never been to LA, but I've been hearing people say like the ability to do spots in LA and like just pay your rent is starting to go down and shit. So it's like a lot of comics now
Right.
just need like a fucking unless you're like on, a lot of comics need a
Right.
side hustle, but
Yeah.
that's a whole other conversation.
Yeah, you definitely had to become an entrepreneur start of the pandemic. It was like, "Oh, you do video work? Well, can you produce a show too?
Yeah.
Can you do XYZ?"
Yeah, that's why you get so many people in. Well, I've seen it in a lot of creative industries. You know that there's, people, and I'm not going to try to shame anyone with rich parents, but it is frustrating sometimes when you see the people who are like, they're talking about their artistic expression and their journey, and you're like, but your dad pays your expensive ass apartment in
Right.
New York.
Like you
Yeah,
have no problem asking for $1,000 for
yeah. So
from
you
from
get
from your mom versus like I can't ask for $5 from mine.
yeah, yeah. No, I definitely get a lot of help from my parents, but it's not on. It's more emotional, and then if I'm in a real bad situation, that's when I get the help. But it's not like pay some fucking rent or whatever. Because I don't try to like shame those people because it's like, what's the point of working real hard if you're not gonna fucking help your kids out? But also at the same time, they get a big head. But that's a bitter conversation we can have some other time. Uh,
Yep.
so what was the first thing you started doing with the animation shit? Have you ever done animation before, or were you like, I'm so fucking
No.
bored, let me figure this out?
Yeah, I've never done anything like that. This is probably the hardest thing I've ever done just because of not just the inexperience, but all of the creative people I had involved in this. Like you were in the process of moving
Yeah.
and
Well, I'm curious about your perspective on that because when I finally recorded my shit for you, I felt like
right.
such a fucking dickhead because you didn't even have that many lines for me, and
Oh, I
like
didn't. This is also my first writing thing. Like I've in school. I didn't read. I'm kind of dyslexic, and I never cared for language arts. So
oh okay.
like this was a very
Well, no, I'm not even.
I forced myself to write at least a page a day until I finished it after work after I did all my like shit I had to do for the
Yeah.
day. I forced myself to write at least a page a day right before I went to bed, and it was like it took me like 20 days to finish it.
Oh, that's awesome. That's
Yeah.
actually impressive to have that type of discipline.
I
As a
it was like I gotta do it. It's either me or no one's gonna do it.
yeah. But I was also I was more getting at the fact that dude, you were like I looked at my lines and it was just a few simple lines, and
Right, right.
I think it took me over a month to finally get them to you, and then I'm like, I know he was running into that. How is it dealing with? Because
Well,
you got a bunch of really talented comics in that. How is it dealing with trying to get
oh
comics to
man,
do that?
it was like 4 or 5 months of coordinating and like because originally I wanted Lemaire in it and Gardini. I wanted them to be in it, but I asked I asked them when I didn't have a script, and I also asked them right as they were moving to Austin. So like they're not gonna they're not gonna hit me back. They're busy.
Yeah, I feel that.
They're doing all that. Let alone there's like 20 different comedians in this thing, and you gotta think of like 20 different people on the grind on different parts of the country, parts of the globe. Like Sam Talent is in the show, and he's Mr. Travelier. He's wide world. He was in France and Italy when he sent me lines. I think
Oh, really?
he was far away, or he was back in Detroit for like a few days. But oh man, and then I had Rainy finally get back to me, and then I hit up Devin Costa
Yeah, I saw
from
Devin
Lemon.
was in it.
Yeah, 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 yeah. It's all over. Yeah,
Yeah,
and a lot of coordinating, and a lot of patient emailing, or trying to find. A lot of times it's hard to get a response because everybody's just so busy. You know,
yeah. Yeah, no, and then on the
and
at the same time you
trying
got
to.
what are you saying?
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, no, I was
Well, I was
just
just
I
trying to
was
say, like, trying to get a fucking DM or email, trying to find a contact list or a text back.
yeah.
Well, like, yeah, like you were doing stuff with Mike, and I think you were doing Porch Fest
Oh yeah,
too
with
with
Robbie.
Bernstein. Yeah. So it's
Yeah.
just a lot of coordinating.
Yeah, did that weigh on your patience? Did all the coordinating hit you with a moment of like, am I even?
No, no, because I know if I wanted to finish it, I'd have to be just chill, and it's I'm asking a lot for what I'm giving back to people, which is not really much. It's nothing.
Well, no, let's
Asking them to trust me and to believe in this thing, and yeah, it's a lot.
ask them to do some lines over a show, and then they watch it back,
Right.
and they think you put them in some fucked up shit. Well, so um,
And they're just like, yeah, this shit's kind of
I watched a little bit of it. I watched the episode I was in, and but I did not watch the whole thing. So I am curious. What was like? What was like the overall? Well, it's. I guess what I'm trying to ask is like I remember I watched it and it had this like fever dream acid trip vibe to it, but also at the same time it
hmm
felt cohesive and like thought out. Like it felt like one
hmm
of those things that like I don't know what's going on, but the guy who made it knows what's going on. And it's like
yeah.
and I'm like so I like those things a lot where I go there I
Mhm.
don't know what the fuck's going on, but I can tell that there was a lot of thought put into it. And like, without maybe not necessarily just giving the whole thing away, definitely let people. Oh, by the way, it's called Ordinary People, right?
Yeah, ordinary people.
Yeah, and we'll put a link for it in the comments and stuff like that so you guys can check it out. But what was like the overall I don't know, like theme or vibe or just like what were you trying to get out creatively doing it?
I wanted to create a show where one, it creates a platform for people like who are trying to level up, but they don't have a platform, or it's just a new thing for people to discover people like us who, oh, I know who Sam Talent is, but I don't know who XYZ is. So they'll go look you guys up. And
Mm.
I created it kind of to like ask a question like, what would the hero be like if or like what would you do if your heroes that you ask for help every day, whether it's your government, your parents, your religion or whatever, like what if you ask them for help and they're just like, oh, I'm busy, or I don't have time for all this. Like what would you do if your heroes, that the people that you looked up to, wouldn't ask, they wouldn't come to your beck and call when you really needed help? So kind of like put yourself in the present, Peter, my dog situation, where like, hey, there's a alien on Earth, fucking everything up. Like, what if, like, he calls Superman like, hey, can you help? Or hey, hey, they're like, nah, I don't feel like doing it. So, who would you ask? You would ask ordinary people, the people around you, your friends, your people who you call family, or to fix the problems. Met Philosophically, that's what I was up, but it's just me walking my dogs, going like, what what would it be like? What would it be like if a dog talked to the president, or maybe he was a president?
That's funny. So you're just walking your dog smoking a joint and then a couple months
Yeah,
later you have a cartoon. That's the fun
yeah,
that's the fun
yeah.
thing about like just all the different like creative shit guys like you or guys like me do where like you lean a little more artistic. I'm in the more like entertainment with the comedy and the podcasting and stuff, but you can like
Mhm.
I've been noticing it more with like panties in the mouth building up and shit like that.
Yep.
Yeah, there's so much more of like you can have a dumb idea where you're just like, dude, wouldn't it be crazy if? And then if you actually put the effort behind it, you're like, oh
Yeah,
shit, we
snowballs.
yeah, you're like, oh shit, we actually did that. That's it's like it's something
Mhm.
as simple as like with panties, we went to this thing called range day, and we were like, we were gonna
Oh
just
yeah, yeah, I saw that.
like shoot off guns and stuff, but we got a videographer and shit, and we turned it into like a whole little fucking vlog, and you know what I mean? Like that's a pretty simple
Mhm.
example, but You're like, oh yeah, you can actually just fucking make shit, and it's cool. And and you made the whole cartoon yourself?
Me, my brother, and did most. He did the puppetry. I did all the directing and editing and stuff. But yeah,
Oh,
mostly
okay.
me.
What was basic bitch ass question, but I am very curious. What was the hardest part of doing all that?
Getting lines from people. Because I thought about doing like a bunch of voices, like like Mel Blanc, Bugs Bunny style. But I was just kind of like, that seems kind of weird
Yeah.
for me to do 80 voices,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah. No, I feel that.
And
Um,
then and then I thought it would be a good idea to make it clean to like market it better. But then I was just like, maybe I should have just let people say what they wanted. That's what I've been thinking about lately too.
oh, you let a lot of the people just kind of do their own interpretation?
I did give only person that did improv was Sam. He kind of just like riffed a little bit. Some people didn't. Some people did, but it wasn't as exciting as like the main lines they did.
Yeah, yeah.
I I think the next time I do something like that, I'm just gonna let people swear and just kind of say fuck it. I'm not gonna put too
Yeah.
many constraints on it. Yeah.
No, I feel you. I think that's the best move, especially in like the current paradigm. There's like so many avenues that it feels silly not to just do it how you want to do it. Um, so you also talk to me about taking pictures for fucking Kublai Khan and shit. Where does
I was a videographer for the opening band for that tour. It was for Frozen Soul, which is another Dallas, Texas metal band who
yeah?
was on tour with Kublai Khan, Fit for a King, and Killswitch Engage. I was a videographer and editor for their social media
Oh, okay.
on that tour. Yeah.
So how do you well, okay. Let's start at the beginning of the beginning though. So you're a videographer. So you're taking video footage, you're taking pictures.
hmm
Where does that start for you?
Going to shows or I mean, I'm also a musician too. I would just go to shows, take pictures and videos from my friends' bands and stuff. When I was going to college, I got more into videography. That was my major, so I would like make recaps and stuff of whatever show that they had. Because as you got more into the media side of things, like editing takes a lot more time
Yeah.
versus being an artist. So I would just do that. Work my way up to like the bigger venues. I would go see bigger bands at bigger venues, befriend some of the bands that would come through town, especially during the pandemic. There was a lot of metal shows, metal tours. A couple bands that I befriended during around that time was Sanguisuga Bog
Oh,
and
nice.
Frozen Soul and
Sanguisugabog, those dudes rule, right? Because they
oh yeah,
based off
oh yeah,
social media. I don't even listen to the band that much. It's not. They're not. I don't think they're bad. They're not my style 100%. So I don't listen to
right.
them. I don't listen to them a lot, but I am a fan of their social media presence.
Mm.
They're
Yeah, Devin is very smart when it comes to marketing. Yeah,
yeah.
he's the man.
Yeah. So okay, so you meet up with guys like that and you start slowly building up your
Yeah, reputation.
yeah.
Every time they would come through the town, I'd be like, "Hey, do you have a media pass? Because I'm broke. I don't have a ticket.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'll buy merch. I'll buy merch, please. Let me make. I'll just do that. I did that for was it the last 4 or 5 years for Frozen Soul? The last tour that they came on was with Gate Creeper and Worm.
Nice.
And then I did a lot of like black and white, really cool pictures for them and the recap. And then I think it was either the lead singer Chad or Chris, is who I established a relationship with. Their one of their guitar players was like, "Hey, do you want to come be our videographer for this Killswitch Engage tour? We're going on tour with them, Fit for a King and Kublai Khan. Would you want to be our video guy?" I said, "Yeah." And then I quit my job, and I've just been looking for the next gig ever since I got back from tour.
That's sick. So what? How old are you?
35.
Oh, okay. Oh wow, we're the same age. So how long have you been doing the like videography, photography shit, like taking pictures at shows and stuff?
Since 2011,
Oh,
2010.
okay.
Yeah.
So what's because I'm very curious about the technological advances because I feel like
Mhm.
back in the day, the camera you'd want would be like a bajillion dollars, and now, I'm
Well,
saying,
the cameras I want now are a bajillion dollars. Yeah, the one I want is a cinema grade camera. It's like 2 grand for
oh really?
yeah.
Okay. What's like the big difference in I don't know, I guess just like cameras. Like it like cuz whenever I see or actually you know what? A better question is like
Mhm.
what's like the type of camera you get and like what's the strategy when you're at shows to get the right picture? Cuz whenever I see people taking pictures, it'll literally be them like standing near the stage and they like just kind
Right.
of put the camera out and you see like ba 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 and I'm just like, oh, is the strategy take 1,000 pictures and at least five of them will be good or
Yeah, some people do that. They'll for like sports. They'll
yeah.
do yeah, they'll do that. A lot of what you just said was a lot of the venues they have a 3 song policy where you get the first 3 songs of the band and then like you have to get out of the pit area.
Oh, in front of the really?
Yeah. So a lot of the big venues are like that. Yeah.
No
The
shit.
one, the one in Atlanta, the Masquerade is like that. Yeah, I've had a few. I got yelled at a few times by a couple tour managers from people who were like, "All right, start songs, kid." Morbid Angels. There's my dog. Morbid Angels. Tour manager yelled at me once because I took 3 songs, or I took 4 songs, and then I got yelled at to get get out of there.
Oh, that's so funny. So what's the process of like doing a big venue? You just have to get like the pass from the
Yeah, either a pass, like can communicate with the tour manager or the venue, get on the guest list, and sometimes you have to sign like a waiver or something, depending on what the uh, constraints are for
yeah.
posting video and all the legality crap.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So
it's not too hard. It's just like some places are like you have to have a media pass, or you just some places are like, yeah, you can just come film. Some places are,
dude,
yeah,
it's weird how different is like because I experienced that doing like comedy shit. Like,
right,
occasionally you get your I have a couple famous friends. They give you the hookup. You get to go to a fun thing.
right.
But brother, if you don't have the right type of wristband or fucking ID,
Yep.
it gets real intense real quick, and you can't just say like,
Mm-hmm.
"Oh, I know XYZ
Yeah.
famous guy."
Yeah.
They're just like,
Yeah.
nope. You got to have that
Yeah.
particular wristband on.
I know Devin from Sanguisugabog. He's right there. And then they'll
Yeah.
be like, nope. Yep.
Nope.
Nope.
You need your fucking
And then
verification.
you're DMing them like, hey, I'm at the front, and they're just not answering. You're just kind of like, oh, okay, I'm gonna miss the first band,
Oh, dude,
even though I really wanted to see them. Nice. This is
dude,
cool.
I love the parallels because I've been there with comedy where,
Oh yeah, yeah.
dude, it happened to be. Ironically, it's funny because literally I went to the Tires premiere last week, but
Oh, nice.
or earlier this week, but this happened to me at the first time. No, it wasn't Tires. It was they did the Gillian Keeves theater show in
Oh yeah,
Philly.
yeah.
And
Right.
I had shit to do, so I showed up late. I showed up to the second show. Everyone got there on the first show, and I'm just like outside. Everyone's been drinking all night. I'm like, hey, can you guys take a pause from having so much fun and let little old Andy in?
Yeah, stop all that networking with Hollywood execs and come let me in, brother.
Yeah, you feel like such a fucking. And then every one of my friends smokes too much fucking weed, so they're not looking at their
Yeah,
fucking phone, and you just
yeah,
feel like such a
yeah.
dickhead. Um, no, that's fun.
We've all
Okay,
been there.
so you've been doing this shit for a long time, and I apologize. What was the band's name again that you went on tour with?
Frozen Soul.
Frozen Soul. How'd you meet them?
Chris. Every time their older guitar player, Chris, and I established a relationship. Every time they'd come through Atlanta at the Masquerade, I would shoot content for them. Since that Sanguisuga Bog Frozen Soul tour, they did a co-headlining tour in 2020, and I
Yeah.
just became friends with them.
Oh, that's awesome.
Hmm.
How actually? Ooh, I just thought about this one because I think another parallel. And it's not a knock to any of the bands. It's how as a creative you get your foot in the door. But like I know
Hmm.
as a comedian how much free shit you do, but it's advantageous to what you're doing. Where you're like you put in all this work, people know you're good. How much of that?
Yep.
How much of that do you just you put in like some fucking free shit up front to just get your name out there?
Oh, a lot. You gotta chalk it up to the game. Sometimes you get gas. I mean, that's mostly my big thing is because I live so far away. I drive everywhere from everything.
Yeah.
It's not like a we don't have a really good public transportation thing here on the
Yeah.
south. So as long as I get gas reimbursed, or if they would like to have me on tour as a person on their in their camp, that'd be cool. I usually try to do that. I try to think of the bigger picture. Like, can I work with them longevity wise? Like,
Yeah.
I'm just trying to. I give them my business card. Just talk to the tour manager. Like, hey, I do this. I've done this for this band. If you got it in your budget, holler.
No, I think
If
and
you
I
don't, if you don't, then here's a free thing. Just
yeah. No,
just tag me.
I think that's a great fucking attitude to have and a good thing to get out there because like we've been there. I've been there before doing comedy, and people will be like, "Oh, we taped all the sets and da da da," and you're like, "If
Right.
anyone wants one," and you're like, "Oh, cool, I'll take one," and then they'll hit you up later, and they'll be like, "Oh, that'll be like $50," and you're like, "Oh, I didn't want it that bad," and then also. Well, it's one thing too, because everyone's work has value, I guess. But like,
Right. Right.
it's
Right.
one thing if that feels like a dude trying to sell me his mixtape in
Yeah, I was
fucking
literally
Times
about to
Square.
say
Yeah.
that. Yeah, yeah. He's like, "Hey, man, I got you this free tape." Like, you walk away like, "Oh, dude, thanks. The CD rocks." And then they're still holding on to your shirt. They're like, "That'll be $10." You're like, "Oh, okay."
I've luckily never had to experience the ultra aggressive guys. I would when I was still in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, doing open mic. Some dude tried to hit me
Mm,
with that, and he's
mm.
like, he hands it to me, and he's like, "That'll be $5," and I just literally give it back, and I go, "Oh, I'm good, dude." And well, cause
Yeah,
like
you always see that at the mall too. It's definitely like a kiosk. It just reminds me of a kiosk type
yeah.
kind of person.
Well, that shit would always make me laugh when I get it in like New York. They get really like apparently they get way more intense and you like fucking get scared and shit. But I
Well, that's because Nipsey Hussle. That's how Nipsey Hussle got big. Was doing that.
oh really?
He sold his mixtape to Jay-Z for $100 a mixtape, and Jay-Z bought all of them. I think it was like $1,000.
Really?
I think he had 1,000 CDs, and Jay-Z saw him on the Nipsey Hussle on the street, liked his hustle, whatever,
Yeah.
and was like, "Yo, I'm selling my mixtapes for $100." And Jay-Z liked his pitch and gave him like 100 grand or 10 grand, whatever the fuck it was.
Jesus.
Yeah. Well, I went to college with a lot of people from Eritrea who worshipped Nipsey Hussle, which is where he's from. So I would hear that from people from Atlanta. Nipsey can do it. I can do it all the time. All the time.
Dude, that's so
Always. There's always a pitch. There's always some kind of hustle
dude,
in Georgia.
that's fascinating because people always joke, comedians will joke like a great comic will ruin a generation of comics because
Mhm.
like Richard Pryor did that. So a bunch of dudes see Richard Pryor, they only understand him on a base level Like they don't really get to
Mm,
understand why he's good. They'll just be like, "Oh, I'll just yell real loud and I'll talk about doing crack
right,
and making fun of white
right.
people." And you're like, "No, no, no, no. He had substance. You have to have substance." And then it's like
Yeah,
that's so funny to think like, dude, Nipsey Hussle did this great thing. A bunch of dudes are
right.
not gonna understand it properly, and it's just gonna go and fuck their life up.
Yeah,
Because,
yeah. Further in debt, buying more CDs, buying more mixtapes, and
yeah.
printing it at Kinko's.
What were you were gonna? I cut you off. You were gonna say something about in Georgia. There's a real. You were saying like hustle
It's
court.
just, it's just yeah, it's just Nipsey Hussle inspired a lot of people from Eritrea with that host. Like, oh, if he can sell, $10,000 worth of stuff to Jay Z, then you never know who you're going to sell it to next, or who you're going to walk up on the street next. There's always some kind of,
Yeah,
at least with the people that I was started up with, they were always on that kind of like, you always gotta sell, always gotta. You never know.
yeah.
At
Well,
least
wait.
I'm
What?
like, yeah.
Where'd you? You said started up with what? Where did you start out? Like in the creative space. What did you start doing first?
Making. Oh, at first, like 2008, when I lived in Seattle, I was making like guitar music. I was into like post rock a lot, like ISIS, Pelican, Explosions in the Sky type music.
Oh,
And
okay.
then, yeah, I was doing stuff like that. And then I got into sampling, like sampling records and stuff, making beats.
Yeah.
Um, got my first sampler. I was doing making beats a lot when I first moved to Georgia. So I just didn't know any. I was also playing a lot of death metal too. I moved from like a very heavy, like Black Breath, black metal, like death metal scene to like jam culture. Like
Yeah.
widespread, like Grateful Dead, and they were just like total opposite. So I didn't really. I still haven't met really anybody really here to jam with that's really into that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
At least not in my area. Just because everything's so spread out, it's not like close. So, and I would just be super bored and depressed because I don't have anyone to jam with. Um, it would just be like, fuck, I need something to do. So I would make beats, or I would do videos for people. I kind of started a record label when I was in college. I got really inspired by Odd Future.
Oh, nice.
I really wanted to start like an independent label to showcase a bunch of like different artists that were at my college and stuff, but that didn't. Yeah, that fell through too.
Yeah. Did you put out any releases or was it just?
I did two releases. I did one for this guy named Oxella. He was a really cool beat maker. He lives in Dahlonega. It's a military school
Oh, okay.
in North Georgia. And I did something else. I can't remember. I was trying to work on like a super group, but that
Yeah.
yeah, some people went to jail and all that.
Yeah, it's gonna get in the way.
Yeah.
Did you go through the process of making a label, or were you just kind of like, I'll get behind this?
No.
Because I
Oh yeah, yeah.
I'll
It was it.
I was just curious because I think everyone who's in the music who's not like a full blown
Not
professional music, you always have that thought of like, what if I start a record label and all that, and then you start realizing like, oh wait, I'm gonna have to be a full blown businessman. Is
yeah.
that what you were realizing like two
Yeah.
records in?
Oh god, yeah, dude. I was like, I haven't made any new music in like 6 months, and like it's always trying to put on a show, always trying to try to get these artists to contact you. Communication is bad. People flaking out for the shows that you booked them a month in advance. Their car broke down the day of or the day before. It's yeah.
Oh no,
Putting
dude.
up your own money for door deposits, pay to play type thing. We've all been there.
Oh yeah, what's that? That's like the shit don't a lot of rappers and shit have to do that for like festivals and stuff?
I don't know about now, but I would imagine so that that kind of game is still there's still people that kind of prey on that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I would imagine. Yeah, it's probably like that for comedians too, where
I
like 5 minutes for or $10 for 5 minutes or whatever.
So it's not overly prevalent, but it does happen where it's more to just take advantage of like new comics and shit. Where they're called like bringer shows, where
Oh, you
if you
bring someone.
if you don't bring like 5 people, you can't go up or some shit like that. Yeah,
What?
it's a way to like no, because
That's actually kind of smart. That I respect the hustle. That's kind of smart. I understand where they're coming from.
oh yeah,
They're trying to sell drinks and stuff. Yeah.
yeah, they're but it's just irritating because like the vast majority of comics don't have like a crazy draw. You know what I
Yeah. No,
mean? Like
no.
the
Yeah.
comics
It takes
like
a long time for that. Yeah.
yeah, I'm even like I even have some friends who are getting into headlining that you would look at and go like, "Oh, it's got to be easy." And it's still like it's definitely easy in some areas, but it's still like a hustle and shit. So, it's hard to get people to like come the fuck out to shit. And a lot of like a lot of people who promote these shows, these like the people who put on the bringer type shows, and a lot of shows in general, I won't say a lot, but there's this sect of like bookers who put on shows who they don't want to do the advertising work. They don't want to because it's
Right.
tough. So they
Mm-hmm.
they put the responsibility like on the comics, which is very
Yeah.
irritating as like a young comic where you're like, I can barely get my friends to come see me do this. Like
Yeah.
the fuck you.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, so they do bringer shows, and then the other one that they do a lot is festivals will charge you to submit, which is why
Right. Right.
Skankfest is so dope because and they watch all the shit. Like
Mm.
it's crazy. Like I've submitted before and you post the video, you set it to unlisted, and then like, you know,
Mm.
it'll be up there for a while, and then you see that number tick up and you're like, "Oh fuck, they
Yeah.
actually do watch it." Like I've
Yeah.
talked to Rebecca, Lewis and them, and it's like they watch all of them.
I'm
So
sure
like
they set aside time for that. Yeah, because they want to curate the best people for that. So yeah.
yeah, so that's why everyone involved in Skankfest needs some props because that one I always love Skankfest too because it started as a joke to make fun of some like woke feministy comics or something like that back in the day. It was called like
Hmm.
Brick. I forget what it was called, but it started out to like just make fun of people, and then it actually turned into a really solid model of like, oh, this is how you run a comedy festival and actually make it good and
Mm.
respectable and not be a bunch of exploitive scumbags. And also,
Yep.
now that I'm on the topic, one props I really need to publicly give to Skankfest is they actually make a festival feel like a festival because they put everything in one fucking location. You'll
Mm.
you'll see I saw it down here during South by Southwest. They're like, "Oh,
Oh, well, that's a whole. That originally was a film festival, wasn't it?
was it? I didn't know that."
I thought it was originally a film festival and turned it into music.
Oh, okay. I didn't know. I found out about South by Southwest because bands I really liked would always be
Right.
talking about
Yeah.
playing
Same.
it. But
Yeah.
no,
Same.
dude, it was crazy this year. It's like so, dude. You know, it's so corporate, dude. Literally down on 6th Street. There's it's Austin. There's the homeless people.
Hmm.
They're kind of annoying, but they usually like they don't really bother you too much.
I've heard a
Um,
lot of stories where they're a bit of a nuisance. I've heard they have guns. That's what I heard. I was like,
oh,
what the
see,
fuck?
now this might be my benefit. This might be the benefit of being like a 6 foot man who's
Yeah, a
got a
guy.
little
Hey, what's up, you bunch of homeless fur? What you do? Yeah, what y'all gonna do around here, 6th Street? This is my 6th Street.
Yeah, yep, that's what I do. I just go up. I go, you think you're better than me, you homeless fucks? But no, as a, I personally haven't had homeless people fuck with me. Now that being said,
of course, because it's you. Yeah, but I've heard like Joe List say he got chased.
Oh, really?
Like they like, hey man, where you going? They just chase him.
That's nuts. And then Joe turns around and gives him herpes. Just fucks him up. That's funny when you have worse diseases than the homeless. I don't even know Joe List. I'm a huge fan. I don't know why I'm doing this right now. Go check out his special. It just came out. No, the homeless to me are more annoying. I was just talking to someone about this last night where I go, the homeless, I've had weirdly entitled homeless people experiences. So like I'm outside of the gas station. I walk in, the lady, she's like, please, sir. She has a $10 bill. She's like, he won't give me cigarettes because I don't have an ID. I was like, you please just get me these cigarettes? And I was like, that's reasonable. That's fair.
Sure. Yeah.
I was like,
hey, miss. Yeah.
And I was like, damn, I can't imagine not having cigarettes when you want cigarettes. So I was like, let me be her guardian angel. So, and she also goes, can you please get me a blue lighter? And I go, sure. I go in, get her the cigarettes. I forget what color lighter. I just get a lighter. And then when I hand it back, she looks down. She just goes, red lighter? And I go, the fuck? What attitude is this? I was like, that's crazy to have an attitude like that.
Oh, man, that's funny.
I go, you live outside and you don't have an ID and you're coming at me with like crazy.
Yeah, you live in the elements, dumbass.
Yeah, you live outside because you can't stop doing heroin and you're going to be a dick to me? It's fucking crazy. So that's my...
Oh, dude.
That's my thing with the homeless. For my personal experience and I say all this to say I wouldn't let my wife walk around 6th Street alone.
I was about to ask, like, what about your wife?
Yeah, I don't.
Of course not. Yeah, of course not.
I wouldn't let her. I mean, and that's beyond just the homeless. That's everything about 6th Street.
Yeah.
But no, they're. That's my thing with the homeless is they're like. It's like, how do you live outside and you're still fucking entitled? It's very odd. They're a different breed out here. But I do got to give them props. I have not personally experienced any, like, overwhelming violence from them. But, they're still scary, so.
Is there is there a Austin serial killer?
Apparently.
That's killing all the homeless people?
No, he's actually killing a bunch of gay guys. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. What? They're not all. I'm not gonna put that on all. I don't think they're all gay guys, but yeah, there's a dude called they call him the Rainy Street. Actually, wait. Do they call him the Rainy Street Killer? Because if they do, they're really missing an opportunity of calling him the Rainy Street Ripper. Because that's a way better name.
Yeah, that's a way better name.
So. I think I call him the Rainy Street Ripper in my head. I have no idea what anyone else calls him. But yeah, so there's this. Oh no, that's not what he's called. It's the Ladybird Killer because there's this
Ladybird Killer.
Yeah, there's this lake in Austin called Ladybird Lake.
Oh, I thought this could be another King of the Hill reference. I was like, oh wow.
So where Ladybird Lake is, it's on. So there's the highway. Going over the river, and then there's like a walking path over the highway, or it's just the road. There's a road going over the highway. You got the sidewalk there, and on the side of it, away from downtown, it's like all these apartments where all these like tech bros and stuff like that live. There's just like a bunch of apartments and stuff, and you have on the other side of that, right next to the bridge, there's Ladybird Lake, where there's a small wooden walking path to get back to the apartments, and right around there's like some bar downtown areas. And what's been happening late at night is these dudes are walking back drunk and stuff, and there's apparently a serial killer that like kills them and like throws them in the fucking lake and shit like that, because I was like, how is this happening so frequently? And then I drove by it the one day, not realize I was like, oh wait, I'm at Lady Bird Lake and I see the walking path and I go, dude, at night you could be murking people easy. And
Right.
yeah, so it's just been a lot of a lot of like tech bros and I think a decent amount of our homosexual men who are getting like fucking murked and thrown in the lake, and it's they don't seem to be working that hard to figure it out. Because I gotta be honest, if you, I was like, well, like if I was running, if I was the head of
Right.
police, and I hear
Right.
a bunch of dudes are getting murked at this lake, I'm immediately putting a shit ton of lights around there. I'm posting on like
Infrared,
yeah,
night vision scope. Pay someone on the SWAT to watch it.
yeah,
Every other, yeah,
bro. I'm
yeah, for
literally
sure.
I'm putting like Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I'm putting like 2 cops there, and
Right.
but I will say, fucking, there are. I think they're understaffed police wise because, well, also too. Well, the other problem is on fucking on like the Friday, Saturday. They send every cop in Austin to 6th Street to make sure all the drunk
People don't get
Mexican,
stabbed and shot. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
all the drunk Mexican teenagers aren't fighting, and there's a lot of white teenagers that fight each other. I should be fair, but yeah, Austin's fun, but it is a mess at times.
Yeah. I always see videos on Michael Ridley's story where there's either someone who's parked too close to his car or someone's fighting in front of his car. It's
Oh
either
yeah,
one or
because
the
Ridley
other.
Ridley just got that nice ass Miata and shit. So
Yeah, he got nice ass cars too.
yeah, he's a big car dude. I saw him. We share same studio to record our pods, and I saw him pull up in it, and I go, God damn, brother. Yeah, 6th Street. Yeah, well, he had a whole incident where he was just trying to eat his late night takeout, and some dude was getting in his face, and like fucking
Right,
Ridley
right.
slammed him and shit.
Yeah, Ridley's a big boy. I wouldn't mess with him.
Yeah, yeah. Andy's back on the sauce, so he's a wild boy now.
Oh snap! I love Michael. He's so awesome.
Oh yeah, Ridley's the man. He was one of the first. He was one of the first people I met coming down here, and he's very. I gotta give Austin props. It's very inviting, friendly environment. But yeah, let's go back to talking about the photography because I did want to. Ask you about like the nuts and bolts of like going on tour with a band. How many days? What's the process? So, like, do they? Does the band basically hit you up and they're like, "Hey, we're going on tour. We want you to fucking take pictures." What's that process like?
It's just word of mouth or the relationship that you've established with somebody, and it's like, hey, we have this upcoming tour. Usually, they got like a big tour or they got an album coming out that they're trying to do PR work for.
Yeah,
And they're just making content that kind of hypes people up to care about them. That's literally what you're doing is making the band look cool. And are you cool to be around with? Are you cool to work with? Are you easy to talk to? Do you have a bad reputation of being a jerk?
yeah,
Because you're living in a bus or a van with strangers
yeah.
who are just going based on word of mouth, unless they know you. But most of the time, it's word of mouth or reputation.
Is that how you travel with them? You're in the band. You're in the van with the band.
We were in a vagabond. We were in a vagabond, like a right below a bus, like the step below a bus.
Okay, so like just like
Yeah,
a big ass van.
big ass van with a little kitchen in it.
Oh, okay. Oh, like when
It's not like an RV, but like almost an RV.
yeah, like when you see influencers like I made a tiny home in my van.
Yeah, yeah, just a little bit smaller than that. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So
Yep.
you're rocking around in that. How long was this last tour for you?
That one was 6 weeks.
Oh, okay. So you're in that van with them for 6 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
What's that? What's
Yeah.
that like going on tour like that? Are you?
For them, it was, dude, it was so cold. It was cold every day. It was cold on the bus too.
Wait, when did you go? When did you do this?
It was March 4th to middle of second or third week of April.
Oh, okay. And yeah,
Yeah, I thought it was going to be hot all tour. And I brought some shorts. Man, was I wrong?
so
Was I wrong?
you were just freezing the whole time.
Yeah, we went to Canada too, and that shit sucked. That shit was cold. Their homelessness was crazy. Canada's a fucking dump, dude.
Oh, really, dude?
Oh, brother, it was literally like Skid Row.
Dude, Canada, and I'm not
And
like whenever people talk about Canada, it always reminds me of how people talked about Colin Kaepernick, because I really do feel like, and let me explain, because I really do feel like, I don't know, your politics, your life experience will affect your way of like, because Canada, I feel like Canada's a loaded topic where it's like people feel like they need to defend it, but like the thing with Colin Kaepernick, I don't watch football like that. So like
right,
I would like the big thing I was always asking, I was like, is he good at football? And if you're on the left, they're like, oh, he's actually like 20 Joe Namaths. But if you were on the right, they're like, oh, he's the biggest bum there ever was. And Canada feels like the same fucking thing. You know what I mean? Like I have gotten so many fucking mixed feelings on Canada. I've never gotten a clear answer on if Canada's fucking cool or not. But you didn't have a good experience going there.
no, because like there's just shit and there's human shit everywhere, needles and glass
Really?
broken, dude. It was garbage everywhere.
Where in
Homeless
Canada were
people.
you?
Win- Winnipeg, Calgary,
Oh, so you went to the main
Vancouver.
cities. Yeah, you went to the main
Yeah,
cities.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it's
That place is
real,
a dump.
a lot of trash and real dirty.
Yeah, real dirty, real trashy. Lots of dubious people looking very nefarious.
Oh,
And
a lot of sketch.
oh yeah, oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I had to stay next to the trailer a couple times just because you know, a couple people were a little close. I had to do that in North Carolina too. Someone tried to come up on Kublai Khan's bus,
Oh, like
like just some,
physically on the bus.
yeah, it's just some crazy guy who just was being super weird, and our bus was right next to Kublai Khan's bus, and he tried to just walk on their bus.
Yeah.
He just tried to walk on their bus, and Matt was like, "Dude, what the fuck? Get the fuck out of here!"
Yeah.
And then
Was
he
it?
tried to do, and then he tried to do that to ours, and our trailer was open. And I was just like, "Well, I'm just gonna eat my Uber Eats in here and wait till this guy leaves." And he didn't leave for like an hour.
That's nuts. Was it like a fan or just a crazy guy?
I guess it was a fan because he bought a ticket to the show, but North Carolina's security didn't do their job that day
Yeah, yeah.
on keeping us safe.
That's crazy. What
Yeah,
was so if Canada was such a bummer, what was the Sorry, I'm still you know what? I'm still on like the sketchy thing because
right.
everyone always dick rides Canada as like that was always the big thing in Michael Moore's documentaries. Like everyone just keeps their house unlocked and stuff like that. I wonder I gotta go to Canada and inspect it myself. I guess. What what stops had better vibes then?
What's up, better vibes? Philly was a sold out show. Um, Penticton in Canada was cool. That was a lot. Yeah, there was a lot there. That was a hockey Hall of Fame area. That was pretty cool.
That rips.
Um, Texas was a big show because any home show for a big band or like a band that really likes you, like your hometown would definitely be a big show. Um, I would imagine Europe. Anyone that like absorbs the culture or whatever that you're into, yeah, they'll. Europe loves music for sure.
Really, you had a good response to the American music culture in Europe.
When I was visiting my parents when they lived in Germany, yeah,
Oh, okay. Because
yeah,
I'm always curious about that. You can't. There's certain countries that are like real hyped on us, and there's certain countries that aren't.
and everyone in the band was saying like how cool Europe was compared to America when it came to like music festivals or just shows in general. I would imagine it'd be a little bit cooler because all the countries are so close that like, oh, we can actually travel or go see like a way cooler lineup
That's a good
than
point.
you would see because some bands just stay over there. They don't even because getting visas and shit is such a fucking pain in the ass or expensive too. I would imagine it'd be more expensive now because of the post pandemic. But like for one of my favorite bands, Emperor, they only play for like a week in America.
Oh, really? Where are they
Every time
from?
they're from Norway, I think.
Mm.
Yeah, it's one of those OG black metal bands, but like, yeah, they're. I think they're doing a week now, and see, they only play like L.A., New York, Philly, only the places that will sell out for those shows.
Yeah, that makes
They won't
sense.
do like a whole U.S. tour.
That's like
I don't think.
I just saw Harm's Way, Full of
I did too.
Hell.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh,
I went.
where was that at? Oh, in Georgia.
Yeah, Athens. I drove 2.5 hours to go because that's when Sanguisugabog played that
Oh
show
yeah.
too.
I saw their I saw the tour poster. They were on like one show, which was sick.
Yeah. Yep.
Uh
I went to that. It was
yeah.
cool.
Okay, so you saw all those bands. So you saw Cruelty. They're from
Japan.
yeah, or they might not have been on that show, but yeah, they're from Japan and they were kind of doing the soft pitch of they weren't like begging, but they were doing it in a way of like being like please buy merch because they're like we're a Japanese band that comes to
Yeah.
and they're not a big band. Like they thankfully have
Yeah.
a lot of support from American hardcore bands, but they're not a big band. And they said that they like tour America every year, and I go, that's actually nuts.
That is true. I have missed the last two tours that they came on. I think it was with Bog. One of them was with Bog.
How is it? Dude, it's got to be so like. How much equipment do you have to bring with you?
A lot. It just well, sometimes I bring stuff that I don't even use.
Oh, really?
It's yeah, sometimes.
Because I was thinking about that with because I used to play music, and I do
Yeah,
gotta
you play drums, right?
yeah. I actually here wait look. I set up my
Hey, hell yeah.
I set it up. I gotta get a weight for the bass drum because it's like
Oh, the kick, yeah.
yeah, because well, you forget on the electrics the kicks are just a little tiny pad. So
Yeah.
if you don't have them secured every time you
Yeah.
kick it, it's like
Yeah. Yeah, you gotta have a cement, yeah, or a cement block, punk style.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I used to play the drums a shitload. I was pretty decent at them, and there's always part of me that goes like, man, I wonder if I'd be like a successful dude in a band if I would have gone. I always like think about that, and then I think about like all the lugging equipment and doing all that, and I go, God, it's pretty nice. It's pretty nice to drive somewhere and just don't even have to do a sound check. You just if the mic's bad, you just go grab a mic. If it doesn't sound
Yeah.
good, you just go, "Oh, can you like turn me down a little?" And then the
Yeah.
show's ready to go,
Yeah.
dude. Because it's like I was listening to actually to bring up Harm's Way. Shout out to Hardlord Boys. I was listening to them talking about doing fucking
Those are cool
international,
guys.
yeah, doing like an international tour and shit like that. And I'm like, dude, just lugging all that equipment around sounds like a nightmare. And then when you get to the show, and if you're a smaller band and you don't have money to hire a sound technician, so you get to the show and the dude doing sound sucks ass, and then you just can't get the sound right, that's gotta be fucking like that's the part. Like I don't know if I if I was in a band, I don't know if I would make it through touring. Because I used to, when I was younger, I used to hear every band has that one dude who quit the band right before they blew up and shit
Mm-hmm.
like that. And you're like, yeah, but if you really, I've listened to a lot of dudes in bands tell tour stories, and it just sounds like a fucking drag. All the stuff you have to do. Was it hitting you like that at points?
Oh yeah. Oh, I was like, damn, dude. I'm glad I'm not a drummer or the lead singer because, like, just like you said, there's all that equipment you gotta keep track of. Hopefully, it doesn't get lost. Hopefully, the staff doesn't break it. That's just
That's a really
if
good
it's a
point.
union building. Our drummer lost 2 drum mats. The one where he. So people who don't know what a drum mat is, it's a mat for the drummer to coordinate where he puts his shit on,
Yeah, yeah,
and he uses gaff tape
yeah,
to color coordinate. This goes here, this goes here, and it's mathematically precise. It's like muscle memory for them. And our drummer lost 2 of them,
yeah.
and so him setting up was
No,
like,
because that's a
yeah,
big deal. Because I've been there when I was still in bands doing shows, and you set your
mm-hmm,
drums up, and a lot of there'd be a lot of shows where you're just in between every song, you're just like, oh, let me just get it to the right
yeah,
spot.
yeah,
Because
you gotta
it
move it
met
here.
it's dude, setting up a drum set for the first time, like especially in your practice space, is so annoying because it's like you can never just get it right. So to like have it like you said mathematically correct on that mat, and then fucking
Yeah.
dudes lose it 2 times has to be.
Yeah, and then our the venue staff is like, "Oh, what's this?" And then they just take it or they move it, or someone from Vegas thought it was another band, so they put it in another band's trailer, and then we
Yeah,
spent all tour looking for this thing, and then by the end of the tour, like, "Oh, it was here the whole time."
yeah, dude, I can't imagine being a singer where you have to make sure.
And you have to make sure that you speak, let alone like you don't realize how much of your voice you're using just by doing this or meeting fans, like
Yeah,
every fan like, oh my god, you're my favorite, right after you got done for 20-30 minutes,
yeah, and then you have to make because also too
you
like
have to play Mr. PR like, oh hell yeah, like you gotta
yeah.
pretend you're not tired, pretend you're not upset with your sound guy.
Well, and I think about that whenever I get whenever I get sick and a sore throat, it's usually because I was probably partying a little too much and not getting enough sleep. And
Right.
that just sounds like there's a million opportunities to party too much and not get enough sleep on tour. And so like to also have to be responsible and make sure you don't fucking blow out your voice and get sick and stuff like that. I'm like,
Hmm.
it's a nightmare. And then on top of that, if you're a smaller band and you have to do all that, and then you get home and you're like, what do we make? And it's like $5. You're like, why am I doing this?
Yeah.
that's why.
Yeah.
That's why it's like I don't know if I'm built for that life, but that is why I like doing this podcast because I would love to help in any way support these hardworking musicians because it's like I think a lot of people and it's fair, you don't know, but a lot of people take for granted how fucking insane being a touring musician is. It's crazy.
Oh yeah, especially the bands that tour like 9 months out of the year, like
Dude,
most of the year they're on the road. Like Kublai Khan. Kublai Khan tours a lot,
yeah.
and they're huge. Yeah, and they're big. So they're doing a lot. A lot of the bigger bands do a lot of other PR, other shit while you're in town for, you know, oh, we're in Minnesota. This guy has a big YouTube channel. We're gonna meet him before
Yeah.
this, or if they're a bigger band like the headlining band, they have a meet and greet. So you have to wrap up your sound check like super early because you
Mm.
you you don't want your sound bleeding into our experience.
Yeah.
A lot of that. There's a
And
lot.
shit.
There's a lot of politicking.
Yeah, yeah. That's the part about I've hit that point in stand up comedy where I've experienced that a bunch, and you're like, oh wait, it's not just a bunch of fun retards who get drunk and say silly things. You have to like do all the it's all the
Do
extra
some work.
yeah, it's all that like extra stuff that bums you out where it's like, oh man, all the shit that and it's fine. We all chose fake jobs, so that's our price to pay. Like I'm not trying to bitch, but it is crazy how much bullshit you have to go through to get to the fun thing we all wanted to do.
Yeah. Have you ever had to do one of those fake like, hey, I'm at blah blah blah. Like, if you had to do one of those corny promos yet?
No. Luckily,
No.
yeah, luckily as a comic it's easy to like say no to their thing and be like, well, I'll just do my version of it.
Right. Right.
But yeah, no, I've definitely been asked to do like goofy shit like that. It's a lot.
Like, hey, it's Big Red in the morning. You're watching blah 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 or whatever.
No, I've luckily
Yeah.
never had to do one of those.
Hey, I'm Andy Malfarina, and you're watching Tiny Tits TV or something like that.
Well, if Tiny Tits TV is out there, I will cut a promo for them. That would be sick. That would actually be sick. All right, man. I think we fucking did it. This was really fun. Thank you for coming on.
Thanks for having me, dude.
Yeah, dude. Where do you want the people to go? I mean, we'll share the links, but where do you want the people to go and check your shit out?
All my social handles are the same. Tapes, TVPES, tapesmedia.com if you want to look at all the stuff I've been working on, or if you want to contact me, if you want me to work on stuff for you, I'm super available. I have a pretty open schedule. You could watch the cartoon that has a bunch of your favorite comics on there, and Instagram, Twitter, all that stuff. And Bandcamp. Find me on Bandcamp. I have all my beat tapes and music on there too as well.
Oh yeah, we didn't really talk about that. How long you been doing the beat tapes and stuff?
2012, 2011.
Okay, so yeah, go check those out. I've heard some of his shit. It's pretty fucking good. He's been doing it for a while, so he's a multifaceted, multi-talented man. And yeah, you do the freelance shit, so hit him up. He's really fucking good.
I appreciate it. Thank you, Andy.
Yeah, dude. Thanks for listening, guys. We'll see you next week with hopefully Pat won't be sick next week. See you guys.